So thank you, ZIVANZA, for giving me an opportunity once again to conduct this webinar on nutrition. So today I'll be talking about healthy eating and the nutrition tips, especially for the woman, what nutrition woman has to take care while eating the food, and all the details will be covered in this 1 hour duration. As you all know that women go through many physiological stages of life, like many changes happens in the woman's life when compared to men. That is, women go through different stages of life, like right from adolescence, they go into the menstruation, then they go into pregnancy, lactation, and later on menopause. So all these areas I'm trying to cover up in this today's session. What are the foods we need to take care while having during these different stages of our life. So women's nutrition, basically main focus has to be started with a good nutrition right from the start, with whole grains, lean sources of protein, fresh fruits and vegetables, and healthy fats. That is, the pyramid says like eat adequately and liberally the whole grains, and then eat liberally the fruits and vegetables, moderately meat, fish, poultry, and eat sparingly the sweets, chocolates, pastries, and oily fats. And regular exercise is very important. As women go through different stages of life, their nutrition also is specifically different. Their vitamin and mineral requirements are also been different when compared to our men counterpart. So many nutrient and mineral will help their promoting their good health, we will be seeing in the following slides. First, let's go into the adolescent stage, woman's first stage of the changes, physiological changes happens. And this adolescent stage is basically all the accelerated physical, all the sexual, biochemical, emotional, all these changes are happening rapidly during the adolescent stage. And during this stage, there is an increased requirement for essential nutrients, especially proteins, iron, calcium, and vitamin requirements are increased because menarche is starting. So their nutritional requirements are increased for that, also to prepare the adolescent for the menarche, and the nutrient requirements are increased during this stage. And why nutrition? Not only to prepare them for the menarche, if there is if the adolescent is not taking proper nutrients, there are many complications that the adolescent can go through. That is, it can lead to decreased social interactions, poor school performance, problems fighting infections, slow growth and development, delay in the onset of secondary sexual characteristic. Like this, many things can affect the consequences if the adolescent is not taking poor nutrition. So here I just want to tell you, like, see, I've told you the poor school performance, how the nutrition will affect the poor school performance. I just want to explain that one. That is, if the child is not having proper nutrition, the child can fall sick. If the child falls sick, the child does not attend school, she does not understand what the teacher teaches, and then it's a cycle. So she does not understand what the teacher teaches, and it can lead to poor school performance. So the nutrition plays a major role, and if the proper nutrition is not taken care, balanced diet is not taken care, the can fall sick, there will be problem in fighting infections, and it can also delay the adulthood, poor nutrition during the adulthood also. And as adolescent is a stage of the last stage of growth and development, that also can be arrested if the nutrition is not properly, the nutrition is not given during this stage. So nutrition plays a major role in adolescence in supporting good nutrition during the adolescent stage, to prevent all these consequences which are related to nutrition. Let's see what are the important nutrients which adolescents require during that their age group. The first and foremost nutrient is important for them is a protein requirement. the protein requirement is very important for them to support their rapid growth and development, because this is the last stage of growth and development. So protein is required. They require about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per kg body weight is their protein requirement. And protein we get from two different sources, that is animal sources and plant sources. Animal sources are meat, fish, poultry, and eggs. Egg whites are good sources of protein. And plant sources you'll get from all pulses and legumes are good sources of protein, but they are not complete proteins. You don't get all the essential amino acids from animal vegetable sources. So vegetarians need to combine with the cereals to get all the amino acids, because amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So animal protein contains all the essential amino acids, and vegetarians lack that. To prevent lacking that complete protein, the vegetarians has to remember they should combine protein. To get the complete protein, they should combine cereal and pulse in a meal. Then only they can get the complete protein. Next a nutrient which is major important is the calcium. Calcium is important for the bone development, because the they attain the peak bone mass during this stage. So calcium requirement is also increased in adolescent. Calcium you can get it from milk and milk products. Then among the cereals, ragi is a rich source of calcium. You can if the child does not like porridges, they can make roti, or they can make breads, they can make cookies. Different preparations can be made with ragi. And then fish with small bones are good sources of calcium. Green leafy vegetables, especially the drumstick leaves, are a good source of calcium. Next mineral which is required for the adolescent is iron. As I said in the beginning, they are achieving the menstruation, so they need to compensate for the blood loss during the menstruation. So females require more of iron, for not only for the menstruation, for their growth spurts, and also to prevent anemia. Iron is also required. Iron is also, we get it in two different forms, that is heme iron and non-heme iron. Heme iron is present in the animal sources, especially meat products, especially liver, contains good amounts of iron. Among the plant sources, green leafy vegetables are a good source of iron. Then pomegranate, papaya, and gingerly seeds, peanuts, all these contains iron. But one thing we have to remember is whenever we give iron-rich foods to the children or any age group, it has to be combined with vitamin C. Along with vitamin C, the iron absorption is better. Phosphorus and magnesium also plays a major role in coordination with calcium for bone development. Zinc is very important to support the growth and development of the secondary sex characteristics. This we get it from all the cereals, which unpolished cereals has to be used. Refined products has to be avoided. All the processed foods also, if there is fortification, yes, it will be available. Otherwise, too much of processing destroys these minerals. So try to have whole grains and whole cereals and all in the diet. Next stage of woman is the pregnancy is the next stage. And pregnancy also, nutrition plays a major role here. The woman need not have to eat for two. That's a myth, that the woman has to eat for two during the pregnancy. They need extra calories, extra proteins are required for the growing fetus. So extra energy, that is as per the adult requirement, as per the sedentary or moderate or heavy worker, we need extra 350 kilocalories per day to provide sufficient nutrition for the growing baby. And fat and protein, yes, it is very important for babies developing brain and the nervous system. And healthy protein and healthy fats are very good to control the weight. Healthy fats, yes, fats we get from hidden fats, as well as visible fats also, it's available. Healthy fats from the nuts and oil seeds are very good, or vegetable fats are also good sources of fats. But fat intake has to be limited to 500 ml per month. That it inclusive of oil, butter, ghee, and all, that is visible fat, it has to be restricted. and try to get into healthy fats like linoleic and linoleic acid for the essential fatty acid. Since our body does not produce essential fatty acid, we need to supply it from outside. Iron, yes, there's a great demand of iron, not only during adolescence, during pregnancy also the iron requirement is very increased because the fetal demands for iron are very high, and especially during the third trimester the iron requirement is also increased, and the iron requirement is 35 milligram per day of iron is required during the second and third trimesters to avoid anemia and also maternal mortality to prevent and all. Iron is very important. Also remember, there are people say that during pregnancy that it is iron calcium supplements are, it's a routine, it is given to the pregnant woman, but some complain that they don't take iron because their stools are black. Don't worry about that. That is, you don't have to worry. All the iron preparations can cause nausea, can cause constipation, can cause dark stools. Don't worry about it. It is required, so that pregnant women need to take iron, and it is better to take along with vitamin C for the better absorption. And iron sources, as I said, in two different forms you get: heme iron and non-heme iron you get. I told you that along with iron-rich food is just iron-rich food is not only helpful for absorption of iron. Vitamin C is very important for the absorption of iron from the food to be consumed in the daily diet. So the foods rich in vitamin C are basically all citrus fruits and vegetable, like especially gooseberry is a rich source of vitamin C. It contains around 600 milligrams of vitamin C, and citrus fruits like guava, mosambi, oranges like sweet lime, grapefruit, all these among the fruits, it contains good amount of vitamin C. Among the vegetables, capsicums, green chilies, raw cabbage contains good amount of vitamin C. So remember, vitamin C should be taken along with iron for the better absorption. And there is one more thing we have to remember when consuming iron-rich foods is iron can always hinder some foods in the absorption of iron. For example, tea and coffee, they can hinder the absorption. They can limit the absorption of iron from the food. So always remember, while taking iron-rich food, it should be taken, at least tea or coffee should be avoided 1 hour before or after taking iron and vitamin C rich foods, so that it will not inhibit the absorption of iron because of the tannins present in it. It has to be limited 1 hour before or after taking food. Calcium is another mineral which is very important for the pregnant woman. They need enough calcium to keep their teeth and bones strong and support the development of the growing fetus. And this calcium also decreases the potential risk for maternal bone demineralization, because the fetus is getting all the nutrient from the mother, and it can also reduce the PIH, pregnancy-induced hypertension, preeclampsia, low birth weight, premature babies, deliveries. All these can be prevented if adequate calcium is taken. That is the latest recommendation is 1200 milligrams per day of calcium has to be taken. So which cannot be taken only from the diet alone. It is very difficult to supplement it. So we need to take supplements along with the diet to get enough calcium in the diet of 1200 milligram per day, whereas the earlier recommendation was only 800 milligram. Like iron, I said vitamin C. Here for vitamin D is required for the calcium absorption. Vitamin D, the best source is the sunlight. So sun exposure is very important, but don't think that you can put sunscreen and go into the sun and to get the sun, that you will not get enough of sunlight. Vitamin D, you have to, the skin has to be exposed to the sun, then only you will get vitamin D. Vitamin D helps to decrease the incidence of neonatal hypocalcemia, neonatal seizures, and maternal osteomalacia. So calcium and vitamin D is very important during pregnancy. You get from these nutrients, you get from milk and milk products, eggs, meat, and certain fishes with small bones sardine, mackerel, and all these salmon, and with small bones contains calcium and vitamin D. Pregnancy, one problem which is seen is neural tube defects, but the neural tube defects, it can be prevented before conceiving. That is, from the adolescent stage, it is better to take folic acid rich foods to prevent the neural tube defects. It's a birth defect which before conception folic acid has to be taken, and the study says that 36% of the neural tube defects can be prevented by consuming folic acid supplementation before conceiving. So prior to conceiving, at least 3 months before pregnancy, folic acid has to be taken. So once you are planning for pregnancy, you should start taking folic acid supplementation. And then after conceiving also, yes, you can continue with the folic acid, and to prevent the preterm birth, anemia, and infant mortality also, along with neural tube defects. It is present in oats, soybean, again all green leafy vegetables, sprouts, watermelon seeds, dried dates, raisins, black raisins, gingerly seeds. All these contains lot of folate. Next stage is lactation. Yes, lactation also, the energy requirement is increased during the first 6 months of lactation. 600 calories are increased from the normal intake, and after 6 months it reduces to 520 kilocalories in addition to the normal requirement. The normal requirement can be 1800 or 2500 or 2400 depending upon the basal metabolic rate. And then in addition to that, 600 calories in the first 6 months, and next 6 months 520 kilocalories has to be given to the lactating mother. Protein, the latest recommendation is 77.9 gram of protein can be given during lactation. Vitamins and minerals, yes, zinc also content of the breast milk drops during the first few months during normal lactation, and requirements of zinc is greater during pregnancy and lactation. Vitamin D content also in the mother's diet is very important. So exposure of sunlight is very crucial during lactation also. So calcium requirement during lactation is also maintained as 1200 milligram per day. Earlier it was 1000, but the latest recommendations, Indian recommendation says that 1000. Like we follow Indian recommendation, Indian Council of Medical Research. Recommendation says 1200 milligram per day of calcium is required for the during lactation also. And during lactation, the fluid, there is inadequate maternal fluid can affect the milk volume. So the mother need to take approximately 8 to 10 glasses, or depending upon the mother's weight also, the fluid requirement is needed. That is, all the fluid has to be increased for the, it can also affect the milk volume. So that fluid intake has to be increased. Oral contraceptives may suppress lactation, especially during the 6 to 10 weeks after birth. So during lactation and pregnancy, it is always good to follow a 6-meal pattern, and always remember to eat small amounts and regularly to provide enough study of nutrients for the mother and baby. And overeating can be avoided, and it also helps to in reducing the weight gain during lactation. So it should be a 6-meal pattern of breakfast, mid-morning, lunch, mid-evening, dinner, and bedtime. That type of planning has to be given, and that in between snacking can be fruits, or it can be salads, or it can be juices, so that if the mother doesn't want to gain weight, it can subside with the calorie can be adjusted accordingly. So the last stage which women face through is the menopause. And menopause, the nutrition also plays a major role in menopause, because like in in adolescent stage or pregnancy and lactation, the nutrition plays a major role. Here in menopause also, the calcium requirement is increased, because calcium supports bone growth and it helps the osteoporosis. Once menopause set in, till that time the estrogen is there, which helps in protecting us from many diseases, especially osteoporosis. And also it's seen that the calcium level is dropped and the osteoporosis and all is seen. So always remember to take vitamin D and calcium rich food during menopause, and limit sugar, white flour products and coffee, because hot flushes can improve almost in all cases when these foods are reduced or eliminated from the diet. As I said, healthy fats has to be taken. Eat more of good fats, that especially omega-3 and omega-6 essential fatty acids, that can boost the hormone production and give your skin a healthy glow. Evening primrose oil or black currant oil are good sources of gamma linoleic acid and essential fatty acid that can help to balance your hormones and elevate the hot flushes. Many females express the problem of hot flushes. So these can be, to a certain extent, this will help in reducing the hot flushes. Try flax seeds for hot flushes. That is, flaxseed is rich in lignans and it can also help to stabilize the hormone levels. Flax seeds can also be effective in hot flushes, that approximately can take 1 to 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds. Remember, don't take roasted flax seeds, because it can spoil many of the fiber and the other nutrients in it. Plain ground flaxseed is very good. If you can take 1 or 2 tablespoon in water, or you can add to your cereal or soup or salads or any main course. But cooking, once the cooking is complete, at the last stage you need to add it. It's heat resistant, so try not to heat it up. Consider eating more of soya, because the soya contains the female estrogen. It almost mimics the human estrogen. It is called as phytoestrogens. So soya contains this phytoestrogens. So it is very important for the menopause stage. So natural soya sauces can be used, or soya milk, tofu, or soya nuts, or soya flour can be mixed with wheat flour or any millet flour, and can make chapati or bread or cookies out of it, and you can use it. Or you can make any dishes with tofu or temp and all, which are good sources of soya. Lastly, I want to tell you top 10 foods the woman should not forget. That is soya protein. At all stages of woman's life, soya is a very good friend. Soya protein is found in products like tofu, soya milk, soya nata, and butter. Soya protein is a heart healthy, and it helps to lower the bad cholesterol, and it is rich in phytonutrients. Aim for up to 25 grams of soya protein per day. So it is very good. And for females, I always suggest for females, because it is a plant estrogen. It almost mimics the estrogen. It is called phytoestrogens. Then whole grains, yes, whole grains, because whole grains are high in fiber and therefore help to with all the digestive problems. And at the stage of menopause and all, it can get diabetes or any lifestyle diseases can crop up during that stage. So to prevent all that, whole grains are very good. Like you can choose from brown rice or parboiled rice or bran flakes, or you can go for millets like jawar, ragi, and all can be used in the diet. Foods rich in folate, that is iron. Foods like folate, like lady's finger, tomato, cereals, and pulses are very good, and it has to be included in a female's diet with in all different stages, right from adolescent. Iron and folate rich foods should be included in the diet. Approximately 500 microgram per day can be taken in the diet. Eat more of good fats, especially polyunsaturated and saturated in the ratio of 0.8 to 1, which is very difficult for a lay person to understand. But you can remember that always use blended oils or change the oils frequently. Don't stick on to one particular oil throughout. Like instead of like generally people have the habit of having only sunflower oil or only corn oil or only olive oil or coconut oil. Don't stick on to one particular oil. Keep rotating your oils, change your oils. At least you use 3 different oils in the cooking. So this can help you to get good fats, especially if the polyunsaturated and saturated will get blended if you get the combination of different oils in their diet. And oils, remember, 500 ml of oil per month is healthy. Don't forget to drink water, though water is not a food, but it is very important for all our metabolic processes in our body, because our body consists of 70% of water. So water is very important for our digestion, excretion, elimination, and all the body processes. Water is very important to maintain our body temperature. Water is very important, and weight loss and the skin dehydration, all that water is very important. So remember to drink at least 10 glasses, or you can calculate your weight multiplied by 30. That much of water is needed in your diet, until and unless if there is any disease condition and your water is restricted. Otherwise, water has to be taken in good amounts in the diet for the better circulation. Nuts, yes, nuts are a good source of protein, calcium, phosphorus, zinc, copper, and some other nutrients. Nuts pack a lot of calories. All the nuts contain more than 500 kilocalories per 100 grams. So limit your serving of nuts. Don't use the salted nuts. The plain nuts, especially almonds, walnuts, are good nuts. You can take a fistful of your nuts every day in the diet for a healthy heart. Green leafy vegetables, yes, spinach to drumstick leaves, they provide folate and calcium and fiber and all in the diet. Try to include more of these type of vegetables, at least 3 servings of vegetables every day in the diet. Fruits is very important, especially vitamin C, gooseberry, lemon, oranges, tomatoes, guavas, like any fruit is very important in the diet, because fruits overall it gives you antioxidant properties, so it can reduce the risk of coronary heart diseases. So fruit has to be taken at least 1 to 2 servings per day of any seasonal fruits has to be taken into the diet every day. Iron rich foods, yes, woman's friend, it should be iron rich food, because due to the monthly cycle, premenstrual women also need more iron, because good sources of iron are green leafy vegetables, and the during the premenopause we need to save iron. So daily intake of iron is very important in the woman's life. Of 21 milligrams of iron is recommended. So take adequate amount of iron rich food in the diet. Calcium, as you learned that in all different stages in the adolescent for the growth and skeletal development, calcium is important. For pregnancy and lactation, yes, calcium was very important. So calcium helps to keep the bone strong, and regular weight bearing exercises also, and to prevent the osteoporosis, calcium is very important. So calcium has to be taken in the diet regularly, around 600 milligrams per day. So finally, I would like to conclude by saying that eat a variety of foods every day, a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables. Don't stick on to one particular color. All the different colors has to be taken. For example, capsicums, we get all 3 different colors of capsicums is available. Try to use all 3 different colors in your diet, because they contain a lot of flavonoids and antioxidants are present in the colors. So use a variety of foods, and different combinations of food has to be taken, and keep your food portion moderate. Eat plenty of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and pulses and legumes, especially sprouts. can be included in the diet, and drink adequate amounts of water as per your condition, and limit the sugar, salt, and refined products. Salt, remember, salt, ideally it is better to consume 1 teaspoon per day of salt. So don't add to your rice or your breads, because your gravy or whatever you are having along with it will have enough of salt. So don't add extra salt in the diet. Salt should be in the limits, has to be taken. So happy, wish you all a very happy and healthy eating. Thank you.